What if you were married to the most powerful man in the world? Yet every day you watched him do wrong, and your only choice was either silence or risking everything for truth. Today, you'll hear the story of Asiya, the wife of Pharaoh, and the impossible choices she faced. Choices that still challenge us today. Imagine living in a palace where gold glitters on every surface. Servants rush to do your bidding, and every wish is granted. On the outside, it's a dream. On the inside, it's a prison. That was Asiya's life, the wife of Pharaoh, ruler of Egypt. But what made her story extraordinary wasn't the wealth or the comfort. It was faith, courage, and moral courage in the face of unimaginable evil. In today's story, we'll uncover the choices she made, the risks she took, and the lessons her life teaches us about standing for what's right, even when the world around you is wrong. The problem Asiya faced was not obvious at first. She lived in luxury, admired by many, married to a man who controlled one of the most powerful kingdoms of the world. But beneath the golden walls of the palace, Pharaoh was ruthless, cruel, and merciless, especially toward those who dared to defy him. Then came the arrival of a new figure, Moses, though at that time just a child, hidden in danger. Pharaoh had ordered that every Hebrew baby boy be killed. And yet, in this cruel world, Asiya faced her first moral dilemma. Could she allow injustice to continue, or could she quietly, secretly, do something to oppose it? Her first test was one of conscience. She saw the suffering of innocent lives around her, yet speaking out against Pharaoh could mean her death. Staying silent, on the other hand, meant being complicit in cruelty. What would you do in that moment, knowing any choice could cost you everything? To understand Asiya's choices, we need to step back and see the palace through her eyes. Every corridor shimmered with gold and jewels. Every room echoed with the commands of Pharaoh, a man whose word was law. But beauty can't mask cruelty. Asiya watched slaves suffer. She watched children, her own and others, cower in fear. She watched Pharaoh's heart harden as he ignored pleas for mercy. Yet, in the midst of this, Asiya's heart was not hardened. She remembered the stories of prophets, of faith, of divine justice. Even in a place full of wealth and temptation, she recognized truth when she saw it. Then came the moment that changed everything. One day, Pharaoh brought a basket to the river. The basket carried a small child. This child, Moses, was meant to die. Asiya's eyes fell on him. Her heart knew the truth immediately. This was no ordinary child. Protecting him was not just a moral choice. It was a test of faith. Now imagine the stakes. If Pharaoh discovered her act of compassion, she would be punished or worse. But Asiya didn't hesitate. She made a choice that would define her legacy. She adopted the child, sheltering him from harm, and secretly raising him as her own. But her courage didn't stop there. She continued to witness Pharaoh's tyranny, his arrogance, his oppression of the weak, his cruel punishments. Each day, Asiya faced the same moral challenge: speak up and risk death, or stay silent and live in comfort but betray her conscience. Her decision to remain righteous, even quietly, shows us something remarkable. Moral courage doesn't always scream. It can whisper in private acts of kindness, justice, and faith. The most defining moment in Asiya's life came when Moses, grown into a prophet, confronted Pharaoh with divine signs, calling him to justice. Pharaoh, stubborn and arrogant, refused to yield. This confrontation was more than political. It was moral, spiritual, and personal. Asiya watched everything unfold from within the palace walls. The man she had married, the ruler of all Egypt, was openly defying divine truth. And in that moment, she faced her ultimate test. Could she remain part of a corrupt world, or would she stand with the truth, even knowing the cost? The texts tell us that Asiya's faith shone brighter than Pharaoh's might. She prayed silently, asking for guidance, protection, and strength. She acknowledged that her mortal life was fleeting, but divine justice and eternal truth were forever. In the end, she chose faith over fear. She chose righteousness over comfort. And in doing so, she became one of the greatest examples of moral courage ever remembered. Asiya's story is not just history. It's a lesson for all of us. Life often places us in situations where doing what is right comes at a personal cost. Sometimes, it's easy to follow the crowd, remain silent, or choose comfort over conscience. But Asiya teaches us that even in the darkest places, one person's courage can light the way. Her life reminds us that moral dilemmas are rarely simple. Choosing truth often means standing alone, risking everything, and believing in something greater than ourselves. And yet, these are the choices that define character, integrity, and legacy. So the next time you face a difficult choice, whether standing up for someone being treated unfairly, speaking out against wrongdoing, or following your conscience in secret, remember Asiya. She lived in luxury, surrounded by power, but she chose justice, faith, and moral courage over all else. And that choice echoes across history, inspiring millions. If her courage inspired you, watch the next story to see another legendary figure who faced impossible choices.